I'm letting y'all know up front, it was a struggle to get through this movie, and knowing is half the battle. G.I. Joe! What's up, G.I. Joe fans and movie fans alike? Welcome back to the channel. I am D-WIZZLE, continuing on talking about all the G.I. Joe films, including Snake Eyes, which, as of this recording, I believe it's already in theaters. So yeah, I've already talked about the original animated G.I. Joe movie and the first live-action G.I. Joe film, The Rise of Cobra. If you haven't checked those reviews out, I'll leave a link in the description below so you guys can watch them. But today we are talking about G.I. Joe Retaliation, the kind of sequel to Rise of Cobra. We'll get into that. So if you guys saw my review for Rise of Cobra, you guys would know that I enjoyed it. I liked it. I know that they changed a lot from the source material, but I personally feel like they still kept the spirit and essence of what G.I. Joe was. And me personally, I liked most of the changes they did for the source material. It just made it more interesting to me. But I know it leaves a divide in the G.I. Joe fandom, which is fine. But I was looking forward to seeing a continuation of Rise of Cobra. Hence, here comes Retaliation, and it looks pretty good. The trailers and the marketing look so much better for Retaliation than it did in Rise of Cobra. It looks like we're going to be focusing on a different set of G.I. Joe members, which I think that's cool for each movie to introduce new members of G.I. Joe, since there's so many. Like, this is a good way to introduce new Joes without feeling overwhelmed and feeling like you have to force every G.I. Joe member into one movie. And then of course, Joes from the previous movies can make an appearance and they may play smaller roles here and there. I think that's a good idea. And of course, Channing Tatum as Duke is returning, and we're getting Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson to play Roadblock, so I'm really excited about that. And then Lady J is going to be in the movie, Flint's going to be in the film. Like, these characters are pretty big in the G.I. Joe lore, so I was looking forward to that. And then Bruce Willis is going to be in this film. Man, sign me up, I want to see this. And then of course, anytime you give me Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow in a film, I'm totally there for it. I was excited to see more from these two characters because I thought they were the best parts of Rise of Cobra. So I didn't see this in theaters. Not because I didn't want to see it, but nobody took me to see this in theaters, sadly. So I had to wait till I was able to watch it at home. Same thing with Rise of Cobra. And after watching this movie, I'm glad I watched this at home because this movie was so disappointing to me. I did not like G.I. Joe Retaliation, and I know that's a surprise for most people, especially the G.I. Joe fans, because I know most G.I. Joe fans say that this is way better than The Rise of Cobra. This feels more like G.I. Joe. The essence and the tone is more in line with the source material than The Rise of Cobra, and I have to respectfully disagree. Yes, there's some stuff aesthetic-wise that feels more like G.I. Joe, like Cobra Commander looks exactly how he does in the animated show in the comics. Snake Eyes doesn't have lips anymore. Everyone's not wearing the generic black uniforms. There's a little bit more variety to people's look, and there's more camouflage. We get a little bit more of the Ninja Clan with Storm Shadow, Snake Eyes, Jinx, who Jinx is from the animated movie, and they brought her into this film, and we get to actually see the Blind Master of Ninja Clan. But honestly, that's about it. That's harkening back to the actual source material. Honestly, I feel like this is more of a deviation than The Rise of Cobra. So the director for this movie is not Stephen Sommers. This time it is John Chu, who I'm not the biggest fan of John Chu. There's a couple of things that he's done that I liked. Like Crazy Rich Asians, and he recently did In the Heights. But he also did stuff like the Step Up movies, Now You See Me Too, the live-action Gem and the Holograms movie, and Justin Bieber, Never Say Never. Why is he doing this movie? So one of the many things that I was disappointed with Retaliation was that Most of the Joes that were set up in Rise of Cobra don't make an appearance in this movie. And it's not like they have an explanation why, they're just not in it. It's like they never existed. And that really irritated me because I actually liked most of the characters in the first movie. Even Marlon Wayans as Ripcord, I liked him, and I liked Scarlet, and I liked Heavy Duty, and I liked Breaker. They all were interesting characters, but like they are not in this movie. Like, why would you do that? Like, the only person that comes back from the first movie, well, there's two Joes that came back from the first movie, which is Duke and Snake Eyes. And then let's talk about Duke. So in the first movie, I thought Channing Tatum as Duke was fine. He wasn't great, but I thought it was a decent setup for him to be better in future movies. And in Retaliation, he is better. Channing Tatum is actually able to be more loose. You know, he feels more energetic. He feels more charismatic. So I thought he was pretty good as Duke. But what do they do in this movie? They kill him off. Within the first 15-20 minutes, they kill off Duke. What? Why would you kill Duke in the second movie? Is it because, like, in the animated film you wanted to kill off Duke but you put him in a coma, so this is you trying to make up for lost time, and in this movie you're gonna kill Duke for what for fan service? Like, what? Why? Well, I actually know the reason why, because apparently behind the scenes Channing Tatum didn't want to be in G.I. Joe anymore, so they pretty much wanted them to kill off his character, which that's really disappointing, because I feel like Channing Tatum had a lot of potential as Duke. But, you know, if he doesn't want to be in it, he doesn't want to be in it. But, you know, I was really mad that they killed him off, because he actually was starting to get better in the role. And I personally liked his interaction that he had with The Rock as Roadblock in the movie. They both had really good chemistry together. So he had potential to be really good. And the dynamic with him and Roadblock could have carried this whole movie. But no, they decided to kill him off in the beginning of the film. It's also irritating, since Ripcord's not in the movie, you don't get a reaction from him with Duke dying. Like, you get no emotional attachment to that. He's just dead. There's nothing to him. It's just, I don't understand why they did this. Okay, so most of the Joes from the first movie are not in this movie. Let's see how the new Joes are in this film. Do they pick up the slack? No, they don't. Other than Roadblock, you know, The Rock, and Snake Eyes, all the other Joes in this film are so boring and so generic. Like, and it makes it even more disappointing because Lady J and Flint are in this film, and they're supposed to be really important characters. Like, Lady J is practically second in command to Duke. And then Flint is also supposed to be a successor to Duke as well. He's supposed to become the leader after him. And they give them nothing. They're pretty much playing second fiddle to Roadblock because of The Rock. They want to make The Rock the main leader of the G.I. Joes, which, okay, whatever. I know you want star power, but if you know the lore, Roadblock is not even anywhere close to being a leader of, you know, the G.I. Joes. He's like, you know, a D-level character, actually. So it was really surprising that they're trying to push Roadblock so much to be the new leader of the G.I. Joes. And then it's even more disrespectful that you have Lady J and Flint just being his sidekicks. It was just really irritating. Lady J, actually, I really like Lady J from the original show and some of the comics. She's actually a really interesting character, and she actually has a cool dynamic with Duke. But she's nothing in this movie. She is eye candy. That's all she is. There's not much I could say about her development-wise. They try to put in this whole thing of she has daddy issues, she has an estranged relationship with her father, but it goes nowhere. Like, they just keep talking about it, but there's no payoff to it whatsoever. And then Flint is just a red shirt, practically. Like, there's nothing to him. There's not much I can say. I'm not trying to be facetious here. There's nothing interesting about Flint in this film. And like I said, he ends up becoming the real leader of the G.I. Joes, not Roadblock. And it's like, they give him nothing. and his delivery is just so flat. Like, I don't know if it's the fault of the actor or the fault of the writing, but Flint is just a nobody character. It's like, that really made me mad. And then another thing, from the source material, I'm starting to become a G.I. Joe nerd in this one. In the show and stuff, Flint and Lady J actually have a romance eventually. But they plant no seeds with that either, even though Flint, Lady J, and Roadblock spend most of the time together in this movie, but they don't give any time to develop any chemistry between any of them other than, we gotta do this mission, let's go. Like, that's not interesting, that's boring. This whole movie feels like a generic action film. This is what I was worried that The Rise of Cobra was gonna be. Like, there's nothing here that differentiates itself to feeling like a G.I. Joe film. If Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow and Cobra Commander wasn't in this movie, it wouldn't feel like a G.I. Joe film at all. So as far as the plot for this movie, it's so stupid as well. So in the end of Rise of Cobra, Zartan disguises himself as the president. And so the overall plan with him is to kill all the G.I. Joes around the world and broadcast that to America. Wait, why? G.I. Joes don't even exist. Like, they're not supposed to exist. People aren't supposed to know what G.I. Joes are, but they're going to broadcast on national television that G.I. Joes are dead. So what does that mean to anyone? So they have this satellite weapon called the Zeus cannon or something, and it blows up, parts of the world or whatever. And so they're going to use that to threaten other nations around the world to get rid of their nuclear weapons. But then all the nations have a briefcase to activate the nuclear weapons anyway, and they're going to use it. So the president is going to use his nuclear weapons to get rid of their nuclear weapons without using the Zeus cannon that you're threatening the whole world with. It's just that's the type of logic we're going with this film. And then as far as them killing the Joes, so in the first movie they established that the Joes have this underground base where no one can find it. It's in the desert, it's underground, it has a bunch of levels of security or whatever. But in this movie the pit does not exist. Like, the Joes are out in the open, like wherever, in the desert, in like a, I don't know, like an army base somewhere out in the open, so everyone will know where they are. And so of course Cobra's gonna find them.
Security's early.
And kill every Joe there, instead of just hiding in a facility where no one can find them. All the Joes are conveniently out there in the same base, and all the Joes are dead except for Roadblock, Flint, and Lady J, and Snake Eyes, and Jinx. What? You're telling me all the Joes are in that one area? You're telling me all the Joes are dead except for the main ones that we follow. So there's no other Joes around the world? They all just so happen to be in that one location? I have a hard time believing that, but okay, sure. And then let's talk about Cobra Commander. Yes, he looks pretty cool with his new look, where he looks more like the comics in the show. Yes, his uniform looks cool, but I personally liked his uniform in The Rise of Cobra. I liked his new mask and stuff like that. I liked that they tried to do a different design with him. But, they want to change that, whatever. And then Destro, he actually was the main villain of the first movie. They actually set him up as a threat. And then they actually were trying to set up Destro and Cobra Commander for this movie. Like, they're going to work together and set up the new Cobra. But what do? They just write him off. Cobra Commander, after he gets released from prison with the help of Storm Shadow, he just looks at Destro's prison chamber thing and is like, "You're out of the band." Why? For what reason? There's no reason at all. Other than they didn't want to take the time to have the CGI rendering on his face for his silver face or whatever. Like, what? Like, there was no reason to write out Destro in this film. That was such a sucker punch to the gut there. It's like, I actually was interested to see what Destro was going to do in the next movie, but no. And then even Cobra Commander, he doesn't do anything in this movie. I only remember him in like maybe 3 scenes, but he doesn't have a presence in this film. Like, Zartan, disguised as the president, has more of a presence than your actual leader of Cobra. Like, he is non-existent. If he wasn't in the movie, I don't think the film overall would have changed. Arnold Vosloo as Zartan, I liked him in the first movie, but no, he's pretty much non-existent in this film. You don't even see his face. Like, I think you only see a glimpse of his face for a split second, but then he goes back to being Jonathan Pryce as a president. So that was disappointing as well. Oh, and where's the Baroness? Can anyone tell me where the Baroness went? Well, is she on vacation? Is she doing another mission? Where's the Baroness? Is anyone going to explain that? Is anyone going to acknowledge her? No? Okay, sure. And then the only new Cobra member worth talking about is Ray Stevenson as Firefly. I'll say this, Ray Stevenson is giving it his all in this movie. He's actually trying to chew up scenery, but as far as giving him stuff to do in the film, not that much other than his whole breaking Cobra Commander out of prison sequence with the motorcycle tech thing, which I thought that was kind of cool. And then he gets into a knife fight with Roadblock towards the end. That's the only stuff I really remember with him, that he actually does stuff in the movie. So Firefly could have been a really interesting character, but nope, they don't do anything with him that much. And then, yeah, he does talk with Cobra Commander for a couple of scenes, but it's just the typical, the Joes won't know what hit them. We got a weapon that they won't be able to stop. It's like, it's literally that type of shit, man. It's like, I mean, you could have used this time to develop more Cobra members too, but it's like literally just Firefly and that's it. And then, yeah, you just write off Destro. Wow, great. Oh, and Bruce Willis is in this movie. That's it. You know, Bruce Willis is in this film. He's not playing a different character. He's playing himself. He doesn't serve that much to the story other than they just wanted to put him in the final battle where you can do a shootout. And you think that they're trying to do some sort of payoff with Lady J's, you know, daddy issues thing with Bruce Willis, but no. He's pretty much just saying, I knew your father. He was a good man. He would want you to try better. He's proud of you. Really? Really? You have Bruce Willis in a G.I. Joe film and you give him jack shit to do. Now, let me know what you guys think. If it were me, I would have written Bruce Willis to be maybe this version's Sergeant Slaughter. Something like that. I think that would have been interesting. He would have been a really cool version of Sergeant Slaughter for this movie universe of G.I. Joe. Let me know what you guys think of that. Would you guys have digged that? But yeah, so the Joes you know from the first film are not there. The Joes now are not interesting. The Cobra stuff is lackluster. So the only other thing I could have fallen back on is the stuff with Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow. Is that good? For the most part, yes. Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow are still really good in this movie. And yes, I'll say the best sequences in this movie is whenever Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow are there. And Jinx, once again, is kind of interesting. You know, she's related to Snake Eyes, and you know, they have this training fight in the dojo with the Blind Master played by RZA. It's kind of cool they got RZA to be the Blind Master. But yeah, there's this training sequence where, you know, Jinx is blindfolded just like she was in the animated movie. But once again, they don't give her much development outside of that. It's literally the same type of thing from the animated movie. She's just a nothing character. And yes, okay, the mountain sequence with Snake Eyes and Jinx fighting, you know, Cobra ninjas, whatever. That was great. That was cool. That sequence was amazing. I love that. And the little sequence that we have with Snake Eyes versus Storm Shadow was cool. So yes, the CGI is more polished in this movie than it was in the first film. But as far as the choreography and the editing, I feel like it was more choppy than it was in the first film. Steven Sommers actually had, you know, smooth camera movements. The editing wasn't as frantic. You actually saw what was going on. But as far as like the fist fights and the shootout, stuff like that, it's a whole bunch of shaky cam and quick edits. The only thing that was smooth in the movie was the mountain sequence with Storm Shadow, Snake Eyes, and Jinx. That was the only great action sequence in the movie. And the breakout with the breaking out of Cobra Commander from the prison, that was slick too. But other than that, everything else was shaky cam and quick edits. So yes, I understand that, you know, this movie had more of a serious tone. It's not as cheesy as the first movie. There's some stuff aesthetic-wise that feels more like G.I. Joe for the fans. And yeah, the stakes are a bit higher with this movie. But as far as the character development and the story, the plot, it was just all over the place. It was a mess. It was boring. It was generic. You know, I personally feel like they were going somewhere interesting with Rise of Cobra, but in this film, it just felt like any other action film. There was nothing really here that really distinguished themselves as a G.I. Joe film. And my whole thing is, if they were this ashamed of Rise of Cobra, why didn't they just do a hard reboot? Don't pretend to be kind of a sequel to Rise of Cobra, but then go in completely different directions and not stick with the continuity of the first movie. Just do a hard reboot if you were that ashamed of the first Rise of Cobra. You know, overall, I just was not a fan of this film. You know, I was really disappointed. There was so much potential they could have done with the sequel, but like I just felt like they wet the bed with this movie. So I will say that G.I. Joe Retaliation is trash. I don't want to watch this movie again. Like if there are G.I. Joe fans that really enjoy this movie, then keep enjoying it. But just it's not for me. I didn't like it. But that's how I feel about G.I. Joe Retaliation. What did you guys think about it? Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? Did you guys think it was okay? Comment below. Let me know. G.I. Joe fans, was this a better G.I. Joe experience for you? Or are you with me where it felt like a lesser quality than Rise of Cobra? So yeah, I've caught up with the previous G.I. Joe movies. Now we can get into Snake Eyes. I will watch that, and I will give you guys a review for that really soon. If you guys enjoyed this review, don't forget to leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel and hit that bell if you want to be notified on future videos I'll be doing. But that's all I have for you G.I. Joe fans, and I will see you guys in the next video. Talk to you guys later. Yo, Joe!